What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Beyond the Neon Veil. I'm your host, Cousin Ryan, and today we have someone who I am super lucky to call a friend. You've seen him on Benny and Moose Save America. You've probably seen him around as well. I'm excited to bring him in. It is my good buddy, Sean Wingblade. What's up, dude?
What's up, man? How you doing? How's it going
Good,
today?
man. It's going good. How are you?
I'm a burnt at. You can probably tell by the look in my face. I've been coaching baseball all morning, and it's we're finally getting to that time of year where hey, the rain said bye bye to California. We're getting all sunshine now, so
that's awesome. We had our first nice day. It was 77 today, and it was the first nice day we've had in Vegas in a while. So
tomorrow is supposed to be the first 70-degree day.
Oh, nice.
For the season, and then it's just 70s throughout and up. I think it's supposed to hit 80 in the next week. So summertime, sometimes right around the corner.
Well, it's still kind of like back and forth here because we hit 90 later early this coming week, and then it's back down to the 60s the rest of the week. So like that.
I prefer if it's, and I would never be able to live in Vegas probably because of this, but or any desert for that matter. But if I mentally know it's gonna be like 90-degree that day, I'll start sweating at 7 a.m. just because like my body just starts to prepare. And I work outside. I'm a cable guy, so I'm out. I'm going to people's homes or people's businesses and this and that. So I got to like load up my van in the morning, do all the things. 7 a.m. I'm just already sweating. And I'm just like, yeah, that's just going to be my day of a wet t-shirt, wet undershirt for the whole day.
It's a different kind of hot here. That's for sure.
I can imagine.
I'm not excited for the 150-degree weather coming. It's not going to be fun.
I got to experience that. I want to say it was 4th of July weekend. There was a fight card. I could probably look it up and find the exact date because there was a Anderson Silva fight,
nice.
UFC fight that we came to Vegas for. Which we can get into, but I'll let you run your show.
So I appreciate it. So we're gonna go ahead and just jump right in. I know you said you had a Vegas story you were ready to tell, and if you have a couple of them, that's even better because I love hearing people's experiences while they're here. So kind of give me some background on the first one you want to tell. When was it? What was going on?
I've been to Vegas too many times. If you ask my wife. In our wallet. I play poker by nature. I play poker. That's my game. But I try to stay away from the blackjack tables because I know it's just a money pit. But I feel like if you can go play poker for 2, 3, 4 hours and then you leave without actually losing any money, like that's a win. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
sure.
You had fun for 4 hours. It's better than. Like if I go to the movies, I'm gonna spend $15 for a ticket and $20 on like popcorn and soda and drink, So that's a good day, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I've been to Vegas too many times and spent way too much money. It's like how'd you do? Well, I didn't lose, I guess. I think that's a good thing. I don't know. I've been to Vegas. I guess we talked about the first time. I don't have it. Everything, I feel like if you do Vegas right, it should be a blur.
Yes.
I don't know if that if that makes sense. The first time we went, we were wholly unprepared, and this was back in graduated high school in 2005. So I turned 21 in 2008, 2009.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Some point around there, 2008. Yeah. So it was shortly after I turned 20. No, it was a year later because my wife is 1 year younger than me. So it was 2009. And this is when cell phones are really becoming like 3G and 4G are really becoming a thing, right? With cell phone reception. Our friend had a company called Sure West Wireless, which was, I think, local to California. And they used like Verizon towers or something. So they had like a nationwide coverage type of thing. But when we got to Vegas, she had no cell reception. So you go there thinking like you can communicate with your people, right? No, we were shit out of luck. So we're like, okay, so we have to walk the strip like arm in arm. Like if we get separated, we're just going to be completely lost. We've never been here before. This is our first time ever in Vegas. And we go thinking that we're going to be with like, I don't know, the the stereotypical, like, we're gonna go clubbing, we're gonna dress up every night, we're gonna, a button down shirt, fancy like shiny shit. At the time, what was the fancy t-shirts that everyone was wearing, like the fight t-shirts, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
not Eddie. I was gonna say Eddie Bauer, not Eddie Bauer, but
Ed Hardy.
Ed Hardy, yeah, all the
Yeah.
Ed Hardy stuff. Everyone was wearing a fucking dragon on their chest and stuff,
Yep.
and like all the ladies with like the low cut tops and stuff. So like, we're trying to play the part, like super way too tight jeans with fucking ruffles all over it and stuff. Um, and I remember we lost our friend at one of the clubs. We were staying at Bally's, and Bally's was like our spot. Like we would try to stay there every time we went. It was like the best hotel that has a central location
Mhm.
for
Oh
the
yeah.
price. And if you in Paris, which is attached to it, the prices were like 25% more. So you might as well stay at Bally's. Like if
Right.
you're spending your time in your hotel, honestly, you're kind of doing Vegas wrong, right? Same thing
Makes
with
sense.
Disneyland. Like you don't pay to sleep in your hotel room. You just need somewhere to close your eyes for 6 hours,
Exactly. Yep.
right?
Yep.
I mean, unless you really want to just go to a resort, like I'm sure there's plenty. But so we knew where we were staying, but we go to one of the, I want to say it might have been the MGM, might have been like Studio 54 or something.
Mhm.
I think that was a thing,
Yeah.
right?
Oh yeah.
Studio 50.
Yep.
Is it 54? And my buddy, so me and my now wife, my girlfriend at the time, we're a couple, and then our friends are not a couple. Boy, girl. But so they were partying all night, talking to people all around the bar. Like she's trying to get drinks bought for her. He's over there trying to buy drinks for girls, trying to do what he can for the night. At some point we get separated, and I'm like, this is my best friend. I'm like, where the fuck, like, how is he gonna get back? He doesn't know. He doesn't have a room key. Like only we had the room keys on us. So we left drunk, hammered. We're all hammered. We'd pre-gamed a bit. We'd drink at the club. And it's probably 1, 2 in the morning, something like that. And we're stumbling back. And then that's kind of when we really like hit us how much we'd relied on each other because we had no cell reception.
Right.
Like my wife and I, we had AT&T. They did not. They both had the cheap ass cell phone. They didn't have any reception. So we can't find our friend. We're just like, we're hoping he shows up. And come the next, we had to just go back to our room and like hope he showed up, right? But we're all so hammered that we eventually fall asleep. And we're like, we had searched some of the strip, we had waited outside, we had like done this and that. And like looking back on it too, you think, I was like, I was such a shitty friend. I should have never left him. Like I
I
get
mean,
22 though. You don't really know. So he got back to our room, and I think we were all, I don't know, I guess too drunk to even realize, but he was sitting outside. He slept leaning up against the door in the hallway until like one of us woke up, and opened the door or whatever. I'm like, well, at least he made it back. He knew where our room was. I feel like we did that wrong. I don't know. Like,
honestly, that happens a lot. I've done it to my friends, and it's one of those things. When you come to Vegas, there's a point to where you just got to cut the cord, and if they find their way back, they find their way back, man. They did it to themselves,
that was our first time. What we don't know better,
Yeah.
right? You don't know what you're doing.
It's funny how often I've seen people who've gotten lost on the strip looking for their friends. I see it quite often, even still.
Well, it's a whirlwind, right? If you've never been there before, especially walking down and you get all the people slapping the cards, like, oh no, they're like the kids in Mexico, like chiclet, chiclet, chiclet. And I'm
Yep.
like, no, stay away from me.
Yeah, I don't want it. Don't want it.
Don't need any of that. I'm not calling anything on those cards, right? But I guess, hey, it's an industry for a reason, right? They're getting people to pay them.
So the next morning, did you guys realize he was just sleeping out there? Is that what
I
it was?
mean, I don't remember who, but I think we realized, yeah, someone opened the door. Like you might even going to like get coffee or something, right? And he's just sleeping up against the door. I'm like,
Hey,
good, you made it back.
You found it back. So
like, hey, if you take off from the group, you're kind of responsible for yourself, right?
yes.
Especially if you can't communicate with the rest of your group.
Right. Oh yeah.
I think that's kind of the danger of that. I think that's part of maybe why we realize like clubbing is not for us.
Right.
It's not my type of scene. I like going to have a drink at a bar if you're like chilling, but not like the type of place where the music is just boom, boom, like so loud you can't hear each other. You're not having a good time. I like people watching. Yeah. People watching's fun.
Oh yeah.
Seeing the fool that other people are making, but I'm definitely not out on the dance floor dancing. So I need some if next time we come to Vegas, I need some good spots,
Oh yeah,
some hole in the wall spots where you can
I
actually
got
enjoy
you.
yourself.
I got you.
I'm sure you can help out with that.
Oh yeah, I know quite a few because that's kind of my thing. I'm not, I was never a big clubber either. I was more of a find me a dive bar,
Hmm.
find me something just where we can just chill. Because yeah, those clubs are so freaking loud, so
And
loud.
and
20 bucks a
expensive.
beer? Are you kidding me? No thanks.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean that's another story too. Well, so do you like yeah, I need a place where I can play pool or like shuffleboard or like
Mhm.
what's the long table? Is that shuffleboard? No, what's the
Oh,
long table with the sand?
yeah, shuffleboard.
Is that shuffleboard? Okay.
Yeah.
I was thinking shuffleboard is like the old people thing on the cruise,
Yeah, it
like
was
in
like a
Great State.
tabletop shuffleboard kind of thing.
Okay.
Same idea,
Gotcha.
yeah.
Same game, I guess. Same concept. Um yeah,
Oh yeah,
so
I can think of a few of those just right off the top of my head right now, places that have that we go to go hang out. So
right.
I
Have you
feel
ever
that.
been to Ghost Bar
Oh yeah,
in the Palms, right?
phones. Yep.
Yeah. So that was another time we went. Might have been our second time going there. So we had some other friends who had never been before, and some one of them who was younger, one of them who was much older, but he always hung out with the younger kids. Kids. Right? We're all adults, but he was like 40. We're all like 22.
Oh my god,
Um,
you need to listen to Moose's story. He had that's exactly what his story was about. Was his 40-year-old friend and this 25-year-old him and them. So yeah.
like, why are you here, bro? Like, hey, we needed you to buy us beer 5 years ago. Okay,
Yeah.
it's time to
You don't
move
need
on.
to
Go
we're
ahead.
good.
Go hang out with someone else. But we went so and another time, like me and my wife had gone there like a bunch with various different groups of friends. And same thing, like you I don't know. I think everyone's putting on a front where they're like, yeah, let's go to the club. Meanwhile, you're like, oh, fuck, I don't want to go to the
I wanna
club.
do
Like,
that.
no one wants to go to the club. Yeah, let's go to the club, everyone. Woo, it's club. We're like, fuck, I don't want to go to the club. I want to go like play blackjack, or do something else. So like we'd all dress up for the night. We're going out and about. And the night before, this is like night two. So like the night before, we had just gone to casinos. Like we made a point of it to go to every casino. I still have them somewhere, probably in a drawer, in a box somewhere. I have a $1 chip from every casino on the strip
Oh
because
nice.
I just made it a point to go. We just walk the strip and we would just go in and out of casinos. Excuse my bourbon. And play some quick blackjack, 20 minutes or so. All right, move on to the next one type of thing. Just keep on walking. And then when we ever cash out, just get some dollar chips. So we had done that the night before. We had just gone out, and I think what was it? O'Malley's.
O'Shea's on the over by Flamingo on the strip.
Yeah, it was right across from Bally's and Caesars, but it was like
Yep.
a little hole in the wall, right? It's torn
Yep.
down now, I think.
No, it's still there. It's
It's
just
still
not the
there.
same. Yeah.
Okay, it was like rebuilt though.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Something they changed it a lot. I haven't been there in quite a few years. But this was the old one, right? And they still had beer pong tournaments going on. So we were there and playing in the beer pong tournament. We got knocked out early. Our friends kept playing. They were playing all night. They were buying pitchers because you have to buy your own beer, but you can play, and then like the winning team gets whatever.
Right.
So like they were still going by the end of the night, and we're like, all right, well, we're tired. We're gonna turn in. It's probably like 2 a.m. at this point. They're still playing beer pong. They're in the middle doing their thing. So we go back, and the whole next day plan was sleep in, get ready. We're gonna go out, do the kind of the same thing we're gonna do, and then at that night we'll hit the clubs. Right? That was the plan for night two or whatever. So they slept all day. We get up, we go have breakfast, we do our thing. We go to get ready to leave, and we get to the first club. So this is after we've hit up a taxi or an Uber. I don't think we walked all the way to the Palms from Bally's. That's pretty far. But we get there and we go up to the bar, like the Ghost Bar, the entrance, right? It's a huge elevator because it's at the top of the skyscraper or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, all right, cool. It's 20 for the guys and like $10 each for the girls. And we're like, all right, you got to pay to get in, whatever. And one of the guys, the two buddies who were playing beer pong all night the night before, he's like, oh, all right, I'm not going to go in. What? What do you mean? What? He goes, oh, I can't afford it. What? Like we just spent, the girls spent 2 hours getting ready. Like we've been standing around waiting. We took an Uber, or a
Yeah.
taxi or whatever all the way over here. You knew that it was going to cost money to get in the door. He's like, yeah, I spent all my money at beer pong last night. There were some people from the different country, and we were buying them drinks all night. I'm like, what? What the fuck? We're all the way over here. Like, what are you talking about? And so we're standing there looking like assholes. Meanwhile, there's a line behind us. There's people lined up at the door waiting to get in. And the bouncer is like watching this whole thing happen. He's like, all right, how about this? He goes, ladies are free, just guys, $20 each, right? So that knocked like a good $30-$40 off the
right.
like whatever. So we were like, all right, cool. Like we'll all split it evenly, right? We're not going to make the guys pay. It's just, $50 divided by the 6 people we had or something like that. He's like, yeah, no, I can't. You can't afford $10.
Like what the hell, man?
Whatever the dollar, like you're going to spend twice as much as that on one drink. He's like, no, I'd really rather just go back to which is O'Shea's, right? O'Malley's. Like go back there. They have like $2 beer and a hot dog. Let's go back there. And like we're all dressed up, like like the girls are full makeup, hair's done, everything. There weren't heels. Like we're not going to just go back and play beer pong at the Irish bar, at the Irish casino. It was such a disappointment. We eventually went in. We just buckled down. I was like, dude, I'll pay for you. Just walk in. Don't drink anything. Like whatever.
Yeah.
But like you can't. How are you going to show up to Vegas on that much of a tight belt? I don't know. You ever come across that? People come in, they're like, I'm on a budget. I can't do anything because I spent $100 playing blackjack on night 1. All right, I got 3 days here. I'm not doing anything else.
I've had people come in who spent all their money on just their room.
Oh yeah,
and they're like, oh, I don't have money to go do anything else. I'm like, well, nothing else is free here, man. Like,
why are you here?
I mean, like, sure, you can go look around, but yeah, why come at this point? And it blows my mind. It blows my mind that people do that. But I love O'Shea's. It's not the same anymore. Like, I miss the way it used to be. Like you were explaining, there's not as many beer pong tables. Mm-hmm. There's no more tournaments anymore. It's not as cool. It's not as cool, man.
Was it bills attached to it? Was that what it was called? It was right in it was what was on the corner. There was something right across from Bally's.
There was something right across from Bally's.
I thought it was Bill's. It was a cheap casino. I feel like it had like $1 blackjack or something.
I think it did, and it's changed names twice since I've moved here. And Bally's actually just changed names a month ago.
That's what I heard. I heard that.
Horseshoe now, so it's
what?
It's the Horseshoe.
The Horseshoe.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Okay. Weird names, whatever. But yeah, no, that whole area is completely different. So whenever you come back and you see it, you're not going to recognize that whole area, man. It's way different now.
Last time I was there, it was for a fight. It was who was fighting? Oh shoot. It was a welterweight fight. It was Uriah Faber's last fight. Uriah Faber, because he's from Sacramento. So we were like, my buddies really want to go see his last fight in Vegas. And he has a timeshare there, which when he kept saying timeshare, I'm like, oh, cool. This will be a nice. It was an apartment. It was just a 2-bedroom apartment. But he was like, yeah, I got a timeshare. You can have the other room. Like me and my girlfriend are going to stay in one room. I'm like, all right, cool. Our other buddy's going to stay in the living room. All right, cool. I'll pay a few extra bucks. I'll stay by myself in the other bedroom. And it was like a 3-story apartment. And I was thinking, I don't know why I was thinking it was so much, but it was really close. It was right next door to Hooters. So that's relatively close to the Strip, right? So we could walk to Luxor and Excalibur and stuff like that. And Hooters, obviously. And MGM is like right there.
Right there on the corner.
Yeah.
When you went to the Ghost Bar, I gotta ask, when you guys went up, do you remember going out on the balcony? Because the balcony goes outside. When you were there, and I want to say it's the same one, there's the plexiglass section. It was just where you can look straight freaking down.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. I tell people that and they don't believe me because it's not there anymore.
So is the bar gone or the plexiglass floor?
Plexiglass is gone.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I remember. I did it once, just long enough for the experience. I was not gonna go out there and stand there for very long. I'm a big boy. I'm about 330 pounds. So I'm a big guy. I'm not gonna test the limits on modern glass engineering. No thanks. That's not for me.
When we went, we were all single. But all my friends, the optical illusion of it freaked people out because you're looking straight down. But for me, I found it as the greatest opener with girls because like they'd look at it and they're too afraid to step on. So I'm standing in the middle, like, oh, give me your hand. Here, you can hold my hand when you step onto it.
Okay, Aladdin, don't you trust me?
I mean, I got the complexion for it. Might as well own it, right?
Like, come on, I can show you the world. Let's go. It's right out
Shit,
here.
I wish I would have remembered that. I would have used that line. That's an amazing line. Damn.
Come
What
on.
that's all I'm gonna think about now. Cool. How did you like it? Did you like that whole vibe at?
I'm trying to remember. Like honestly, I remember being very mad at our buddy, who was just like, he was such a party pooper the whole night. He's like, no, let's just stay down here and get a $5 beer. I'm like, okay. I think it was attached to the Playboy Club. Is
Yep,
was that in the
right
same
upstairs,
place?
right upstairs. Yeah.
Okay, so we went into both just to kind of walk through and get the experience. And if I remember the Playboy Club, it was very like posh. It was like more hoity-toity. The Ghost Bar was where everyone was like partying at, type of thing. Everyone up top was just having drinks and like sitting on the couch, like lounging. I'm like, we don't belong in either of these places. That is not the type of people we are. We are home party people and like smoking like hookah in the garage type of thing. Like that's the type of thing we're doing. My computer just decided to do an update. I'm gonna cancel that real quick.
Me when growing up where I did, that was exactly what we did. So I feel that.
Yeah. Well, it was before we were of age, but my dad would just like turn a blind eye to it basically. But we were just hanging out in our garage, playing beer pong or smoking hookah. And I think I was probably the oldest, so maybe I would have been the one to get in trouble if a cop ever showed up. I'm like 1 year older than my wife, so and her friends were all about the same age. So yeah, when I was 21, I was able to buy. Don't come after me. Yeah, it's long gone now. It's been 15 years.
Well, and so that whole idea though with your friend coming, not the money. That is seriously so like.
I don't know what he expected it to be, like yeah, it was the type of thing where it's like, hey, there's 5 of us in a hotel room, right? 1 person on the couch, 2 people in each bed type of thing. We're all sharing like a double queen. Mm-hmm. And so he's like already just spending all his money. And then he spent his entire budget on, beer pong on night 1. And it's like, we're here for 3 nights. you gotta pace yourself or be prepared to spend the money.
Right.
Don't spend money that you're gonna have to pay for rent with, right? You need to have some money set aside for that.
Well, and I think that's people's problem with Vegas in general is they come down here and they go ham the first night, blow their entire load, and then they're screwed. And they're here 2 more days.
Yeah.
People got to pace themselves. It's a marathon, not a sprint. Like hands down,
Absolutely.
Vegas is a marathon.
I feel like Vegas is like a 2-night town, 3 if you're really pushing it, but you got to be prepared for that, and not just money wise, but like your body's not ready. You unless you're a hard drinker, like 5 nights a week type of thing, like you're not prepared to just go party ham until 3 o'clock in the morning or till the sun comes up, because you can do that, depending on where you are.
And there's been times where we've gone in when the sun was out, and we'd come out when the sun was just coming back up, and you lose track of time, and you pay for it later, man.
I've done that once. It was in Vegas. I took we live in Sacramento, so it's about a 6 to 7 hour drive to get down to like LA area. So my plan was it was for an anniversary we had. I got my wife's sister to watch the kids, so we drove down day 1. We went straight to Venice Beach. It was a whole weekend I had planned. We drove down to Venice Beach. We got there. We hit traffic on the way, so it delayed everything. But we got there. We checked in the hotel, and I was like, "Let's go for a walk." Let's walk. And I picked a hotel that was close enough to the beach that we could just walk there. I was like, we'll go for a walk. We'll grab dinner, like over towards the beach, whatever. Didn't realize there's quite as many homeless people as there ended up being.
Oh yeah.
So I was looking at the glamorous pictures, on the website type of thing. I didn't prepare for that. But we get down there. It was a good time. We walked along, and we go to wherever the spot was. We decided we could see the pier off in the distance with like the carnival. There's a carnival on one of the piers in Venice. Or Santa Monica Pier, something like that.
Yeah,
maybe that's what I'm thinking of. I don't know the LA area very well. So like, let's walk over there. So we walk along the beach. We didn't realize it was like the fucking mile. It was a mile walking in the sand. That's
That's a long time,
we're
dude.
not beach people, so we were not prepared to walk in the sand that far. The next day, this is after everything happened, or even when we got to dinner that night, like our feet were done. We had blisters from the sand because you're walking on coarse sand, or it's getting in your shoes or whatever, and then you're just rubbing on it the whole time. And we're not running around without shoes on like kids do or whatever. We are not well versed for this. So we had dinner, we do some rides. We're like, we're not walking back. Let's catch an Uber. This is actually the first time we had ever Ubered before. It was right when Uber was becoming a very popular thing. I remember talking to the driver too. I was like, oh, this is really weird. I had heard about this Uber thing, from podcasts or whatever I listened to. And he's like, oh yeah, dude, I make like $6,000 a month. I go to school. I work like, 10 hours a week. And I'm like, shit, dude. And I was like, I'm going to quit my job and do this. I'm so glad I didn't do that.
Yeah, so glad you did it.
Yeah, things changed very shortly afterwards when ride shares became very popular. So that was night one. It was really cool. It was fun. It was a fun overall experience, but our feet were killing us, right? Well, day two was Disneyland. That was my day two excursion show. I was like, we can go to California Adventure or Disneyland. You get to pick. And so we went to Disney for the day. It was a good time, but it was another, a day where you're on your feet and you're doing like 25,000 steps because you're just hamming it all at Disneyland. So night three, after we did so we go to the beach, go to Disneyland. Well, night three was, hey, I had bought tickets for Penn and Teller in Vegas, and it was like a 4-hour drive from LA to Vegas. So that was the plan, and it was like a 9 o'clock show, so we could just wake up in the morning. We'll check out normal time and drive. Well, we hit traffic, so a 4-hour drive turned into 6. We get into town. It's like 5 o'clock. We had gotten food on the way or whatever, but we're like, we need dinner, so we, Penn and Teller is at
the Rio.
Okay. Right across from the Palms. So it was over, it's like off strip or whatever. It was a good time. It was a great show. It was either that or like Blue Man Group or something. I wanted to see kind of like we'd never seen any show, like of the like 10 times I've been to Vegas. We had never gone to any of the shows. And I've always heard like the Bally's, like showgirls or burlesque dancers. What are they? That was a fun show. The Penn and Teller, the Blue Man Group, like that was always a good time. Or any of the comedians or the singers and stuff. So I was like, well, Penn and Teller, like there's such a iconic, type of thing that you would go do. So I was like, that has to be our first show, right? It was a great time. It was really cool. The show was like an hour. Like it was a great time. But we had like burned ourselves like the candle, down like for the past 2 days and spent so much time in the car. And then we drove in, we literally had dinner and saw the show. My wife's like, I'm done. Like, I'm not trying to go drink. I'm not trying to do nothing. She just wanted to go back to the hotel room and sleep. I'm like, well, we're in Vegas. I'm not doing that. All right, so we go back to the hotel room, you get her ready for bed, do our thing. And I was like, well, we're in the casino. Like, I'm going to just go down and play poker, play blackjack, whatever. So we were talking earlier before we went live, vodka Red Bulls, right? So that's my drink when I'm playing poker, especially because it'll keep you wired and get you fucked up, right?
Yep.
That's the whole point of vodka Red Bull, right? Which is why they won't serve it to you in a lot of places nowadays.
Yeah.
Energy drink and vodka or any kind of alcohol, right? They're always hesitant about that. So I sat down with like $200 and just playing like a 1-2 poker game, which if you're familiar with poker, it's pretty much the minimum, like smallest game you could find. And there was like 1 or 2 tables. Like it wasn't like a huge poker room. There was only like a couple of games running, and it was probably like a Wednesday or something. And so I played poker until the sun came up. I didn't realize, you don't know when you're in the casino exactly how bright it is outside because everything's bright in there.
Right.
You can kind of tell by the clientele around you and, the people who are getting off shift and leaving. And the type of people who are still there at the table playing poker with you. But, the drinks are free while you're playing poker or while you're gambling. So I'm like, ordering drinks and she's bringing them. She's nice. I'm always tipping $1 or whatever. I was getting so fucking hammered, but I was still playing well. I was like becoming like best friends with the guy next to me. And I was just, and I'm not that type of person, right? I'm pretty shy if I don't know you.
Right.
Especially like random people at a poker room. I don't know these people. But I'm I'm laughing, and I think this guy, he was trying to. I'm sure if you're sitting at a poker table and someone is being like an obnoxious, super drunk asshole, you're gonna try to take advantage of them and try to take their money. That's
Oh yeah,
really that's the goal of poker, is you're trying to
right.
take the other person's money. So this guy was probably trying to take all my money, I'm sure. But I started tipping the waitress $5 a drink.
Oh my god.
So everything I was winning, I went from $1 tips, because that's a nice tip. Your waitress is bringing around, she's working off of tips, but she's also making like probably $30 an hour or something, because she's bringing everyone drinks, and she brings you 2 or 3 drinks an hour. She's making $3 off of you alone, right? No, I started giving her five. She was bringing me 4 or 5 drinks an hour, for 6 hours. I would, and everything I won, I didn't leave with a dime, because I just paid in drinks this whole night. I probably spent $200 in vodka Red
Oh
Bulls,
my
right?
god.
And I didn't know any better. And I finally leave. I literally, but leaving with the money that you came with is a win.
Yes.
I remember I left with some money. I didn't lose it all. I didn't go to the ATM or anything. So I left with, so I was playing. I was just hitting all the cards. If I was more sober, I wouldn't have been spending all the money at the same
Right.
time. And so I was like, all right, it's time. I don't think I knew what time it was. I was like, I should go back. I should go to sleep. We got to leave soon. So I go stumble into the elevator, go up to whatever floor it was. Which, by the way, detour. So we got there, and I was like, hey, I told a friend, I was like, hey, we have like, it's our anniversary. It's like, any upgrades or anything available? Like, can we have a room with like a nice view? Like, that's what I asked at the front desk or something. Real casual. Like, I'm not going to pay for a huge upgrade.
Right.
They gave us a 4-room suite, like presidential suite.
Wow.
When you walk in, immediately to your left, there's like an 8x8 room with all mirrors. It was like an exercise room. To the right is a jacuzzi tub, one of 2. It's like a sauna. There's a couch. There's like, it's like a fucking living room. It was basically like a 3-bedroom house. There was one master over here. There's another master over here. It was fucking nuts. I've never been in a room this big. It was like something out of Home Alone, right? Home Alone 2, when he's in New York, like, he just has the presidential suite, right? At this, that's what it was. Fucking crazy. It didn't cost me a dime extra. It was just available that night. So yeah, always ask when you go check in anywhere, especially it was like a Tuesday, Wednesday night.
Yeah.
No one's staying in the presidential suite on a Wednesday night. Ask them, say, hey, what's available for an upgrade? We just want something to view. So we got really lucky. It was crazy cool room. So I go stumbling up. It's like on the top floor. I get out, fucking elevator doors open. I remember just getting hit with like the sunrise. And so, mind you, remember, like, Penn and Teller show was 9 o'clock. Probably put the wife to bed around 10:30, 11. So I've been playing poker for like 7 hours. And I didn't know what time it was. I was so hammered drunk. And like I just remember the elevator doors. Oh, the sun, like, and I'm, so it's probably like 7 o'clock in the morning, 8 o'clock in the morning. And like, I stumble into the room, and I go to sleep. And I probably had like 2 hours of sleep before, hey, checkout time's at 11. So we got to start packing our stuff up. We got to get ready. So I was still hammered. I was like, I'm not driving home. Obviously, we have to drive from LA back to Sacramento.
Oh my
which
god.
is like a good 11-hour drive or so, 10, 11. And that's if you don't hit traffic, which I'm pretty sure we did. But I remember, like, my wife called me up, and she's like, oh, you had fun. I'm like, yeah, probably. We get down to the car, and I just had my sunglasses on. I was just, in the passenger seat. I'm sleeping. And she drove the whole way home, and I was probably passed out for 90% of it. She was like, hey, you know what? She went to sleep early. Otherwise, she would have been there with me. And we would have had to just extend our stay another night. tell her sister, hey, hold on to the kids for one more day. One more night. We'll be home. Yeah.
Wow.
That was a good time. That was a fun anniversary. And she's like, you were snoring so fucking loud, louder than I have ever heard you snore before. Like, in the past, just passed out for 10 hours straight. That was a good time. I like that. It was. If you have a good, a good person along with you for the ride, it could be a good time.
Well, I think people forget that too. Like, I normally, married couples, cool, come to Vegas. But if you're dating someone, for the most part, I'm normally not a huge fan of couples coming.
That'll test you.
Shit happens, man.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You see the dark side of your significant other for fucking sure.
Yes. Well, they may come with the mentality of like, hey, what happens in Vegas, right? Let's go have a threesome. Like,
Right.
no,
Yeah.
no, guess what? You get to go home with that person.
Yeah. And
One
to
of
look
those
at each other
people.
later. Yeah, for real. If either of them, you never know. Shit.
That's something you have to do as a dating couple before you get engaged or before you get married, is like build IKEA furniture, do a road trip, and go to Vegas. Like there's some hallmarks, and then move in together for at least like 6 months or so.
Right.
There's some hallmarks. Vegas is one of them, right? You got to go on a party trip and make it home and still be on speaking terms.
Prime example for me, I've done that. I dated a girl and I brought her to Vegas and she couldn't handle it. It was bad. It ended horribly when we went home, but some people can't handle their liquor and it really shows.
Couldn't handle Vegas or couldn't handle you in Vegas? Be honest.
Well, they couldn't handle their liquor in Vegas.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I'm a Vegas veteran. I've been coming since I was a kid, so I know what to
Right.
expect. But, when I brought her first time, she went a little bit harder than she should have. And it was bad, and if you can't be mellow about being in Vegas, you know what I mean? It's like,
it's not for you.
Good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I love it here. I love Vegas. I love being able to go out and party, but it's just some people can't handle it. They just.
So I've never been to Old Vegas. It's Fremont Street, right?
Yeah.
I've never done anything off strip, to be honest. Like, other than like the Penn and Teller show, like at the Rio, like that was one thing.
That's really not off strip though, if you think about it.
It's close. Like it's just over the freeway, or it's a quarter mile away. It's not very far. I was planning on coming to a World Series of Poker event. I was trying to save up. It was because it was going to be like a $2,000 buy-in or something. And then it just never ended up happening. I was like, I can't save that much money for the off chance of buying into a poker tournament. But other than that, like I've never gone to Vegas for anything other than just like, hey, let's go party for 3 days type of thing.
Right.
And that's plenty, to be honest.
Yes. And I've said before in other shows, we've come before I lived here, I brought a bunch of friends for 7 days, and it was too long. 7 days was too long. Toward the last 2 days, we were hurting.
What do you do? Like you've run out of money at that point, right?
Yeah.
Like what is there to do by that time?
Well, we were smart. We pre-bought a bunch of shows that we wanted to see just to keep ourselves busy.
Sure.
But we don't remember most of the shows because we were smart. My family lives here, and we'd go off the strip to go to the liquor store. And Lee's liquor store around here everything's cheap. You can get a half gallon of Tito's for like $30.
Okay.
So we stocked up on Tito's, absinthe, tequila, whatever. So we didn't have to go pay for drinks. We just got to go wander and go do shit and not remember most of it. So
that was probably the smartest thing I did. One of the last times when I went to Vegas for the Uriah Faber fight. And I remember it was Colby Covington versus Kamaru Usman for the welterweight title. This is probably 2 or 3 years. It was before COVID, so it was about 3 or 4 years ago now. But we hit one of the liquor stores that was off strip, like before when we left it, and I would just remember carrying around 2 tall cans of like a Corona and a Mike's Hard Lemonade or something.
Yep.
Like, I was like, yeah, this was $6, like for these big ass tall cans versus a $6 vodka Red Bull at the bar in the casino.
Right.
Like
and
that's absolutely the way to do it.
The thing I talk about the most to people is like, okay, if you're not going to go to a bar off the strip, you're going to be on the strip. They have the little convenience stores that are like at MGM, New York, and stuff. And it's 2 tall boy cans and one of those like airplane shots, bottle shots. Depending on what you get, between $15 and $20 for 2 drinks and a shot. It's cheapest you're going to find most places walking around if you're on the strip. And that's the way to go, double fisted beers and you got your shot in your pocket. So I've done that too many times. Well, not
you got to find the places that do the bucket, like the PBR cans in the bucket. Like you get like 6 of them for $12 or something. Like, all right, cool. That's a great deal, even though they're the small ass, 10 ounce, 12 ounce beers or whatever.
Well, when I have friends come to town, like you guys ever come back too, I always ask them, okay, what's your party plan? Like, do you want to get drunk? Like, is that kind of what you guys want to do? Whatever. Because I will meet up with people and I'll bring the liquor. I mean, I live here. So for me, I can just go bring it out to the strip for you guys, and then we can party. But, and it makes it a lot more fun. They have more money to spend on doing dumb shit, which is even better.
Absolutely.
So,
I like the idea of coming in and still staying in the casino just to be close to the gambling. Because, like I said, I do like a good poker tournament or something. Like they always have like 9 a.m., 10 a.m., 11 a.m. poker tournaments, and there's 10 card rooms across the strip. So you kind of just pick the place you're staying closest to. Try to stay away from the blackjack. I've never been a slots person. I get bored out of my mind playing sitting at the slots. We have a casino. We have a couple Indian casinos locally, and so my buddy and he'll let's go, and then I'm like, cool, let's go, and he's like, yeah, I want to play the penny slots. I'm like, fuck, dude, all right. I'm just inhaling smoke standing here. Like, no,
right.
let's go over to the tables at least or something.
I'm a big craps player, so if you ever want to go do that when you come back, I'd love to show you.
So yes, I've learned to play craps 3, 4, 5 times, and I've been hammered drunk every single time when I got to the craps table. So I don't remember a single time, like a single thing about it. A couple times in Reno, and then a couple times in Vegas, and I remember getting there, and I'm like, cool, craps. Like, where do I put money? He's like, all right, put it on the pass line, put it on the bet line. All right, you can bet, you can split, you can do the hard 8, and you can do the. I'm like, all right, cool, yeah. And then you wake up in the morning, I'm like, it's all gone. Like, it's just like someone sucked the memories out of it. I don't know how to play craps. So whether I won or not, I have no fucking clue.
Craps is always my game. I always go with a couple $100 and before I go stand at a craps table because it's a lot of fun. They have new machines now. Well, they have like the electronic craps machines that roll the dice in a little bubble, kind of like Trouble.
Okay. Okay.
So it's not as fun. But yeah, basically, and that's what it is. It rolls around in a little bubble and it pops. The ground pops, and it's weird.
Okay.
Those are okay if you like that kind of stuff. But for me, I like more live tables. Well, they have new live tables now that they're slowly rolling out to where the rolling is live, but the betting is all electronic. So everyone has their own station,
right?
And you bet, but they have real dice that they're handing to a shooter to roll, and so it speeds up the game and it makes the game a little bit better, especially for those people who are drunk as shit and then try to bet and then they don't know how to bet.
And they're just throwing chips across the table.
Yeah. So, and instead of having, was it normally 1, 2, 3 people at a table, they only have one, which is the main person running the machine and handing the dice. So it's easier to learn that way, and it's pretty fun. So yeah. So
and a couple of the local casinos, because it's different in California. You can't play. I don't think you're allowed to play with dice. Everything has to be a card game.
Yeah.
So they have a shoot of 6, 7, 8, whatever, however many dice. It's like, or it might be like a constant shuffler or something like that. And so instead of throwing dice, you're pulling a card with a picture of a dice.
Interesting.
On the card. Yeah. So that's how they do it in California. That's how they get around it. And then I think the last time it's been a hot minute since I've been to the casino, but the same thing. They had like it was all electronic stations around the table. And then you still pull it. You aren't touching the card. The dealer is touching the card. This is your roll. Yeah, you got a 6 or whatever it was.
That's odd. Huh. I don't know how I feel about that. So that still blows my mind. I can't think about planning to play with cards. I think I would lose my mind trying to play with cards.
It's interesting. I don't think I've ever spent too much time on it to really get a good gauge for exactly like how fun it is or whatever. Once again, I've been hammered drunk every time I try to play craps, but I like to feel the dice, and you get to feel the dice in your hand.
It's the real feel of it. Yeah, it's the action of the table, man.
All right.
But when you come back, like whenever you come back, going to Fremont, going back to that, since you've never been, it's cheaper to gamble there than most places anywhere else on the strip. And there's some games there that I go down to play myself. They have an old like electronic horse racing game where it's like old school metal on the tracks running around the thing, and it's really fun. It takes quarters, and it's interesting, but it's a good time just to waste your time and bet a bunch of other people on a race horses. So
interesting. Okay. As long as it has the music, like it has like the and you
I think it does. I think it still does. Yeah.
Make it fun, like you feel at a racetrack.
It's a lot of fun. It is. I'm a big fan of table games, but like depending on when I go down for my friends come, I'm a huge fan of just going to play Keno, like a 4-card Keno on a machine, because especially if I want to get drunk, those are normally closest to the bar. and the waitress comes quick. And
Right.
so,
Yeah.
I'm only spending, maybe $1 a hand, but I'm getting hammered every few minutes because they're right there. So it depends on what you want to do in Vegas. It's how you go gamble.
I spent last time I was in a casino, we went to during Christmas time. Took the kids up to Reno for the first time and had planned to go to like Circus and stuff because they have huge like arcades and stuff. It's almost like a Midway, so it's like the state fair, right? It's coming through. Big old like you toss the ring game and stuff like that. And I had gone down to. I wanted to play poker, but I didn't. I don't think I had the time. Like it was just in the morning. I was just going to get coffee. It's like I don't have time to sit at a table for 3 hours while my kids are up in the fucking hotel room. And so I was like, oh, let me play a little bit of blackjack. Let me get like 20 minutes out of my system. I ended up being there for like an hour, but long enough to at least get a drink or two, And I think I got lucky. I had picked a spot close enough to the bar that the waitress would actually see us when she came by.
Right.
Because that's another strategy when you're picking, like your enjoyment, right? Enjoying yourself playing the game, not just to win money, but to have a good time sitting there. Because you might just go lose for an hour, right? If you have the bankroll for it, you might just go lose every single hand for an hour. But if you at least enjoy yourself, like you could say, all right, was it worth the money? So if you're not getting any free drinks and you're not having a good time losing, then it's not really worth it, right? So you move on, do something else with your time. So if you pick a spot closest to the bar, exactly what you just said, like that's strategy on when all right, am I picking the table because it's a $25 minimum bet, or am I picking the $5 table? Okay, but the $10 table is closest to the bar, so let's make these bets worth it.
Right? Well, and what's funny is people don't realize is the bar, when you sit at the bar, they have a minimum bet you have to play at those machines.
If you're paying like the digital machines.
Yeah. But you're anywhere else on the floor, it doesn't matter. Sure. So you can play a 25-cent Keno and still get your drink, where if you're at the bar, you got to pay $1.50 to a hand.
That always reminds me of Vegas Vacation. Just when he wins the Keno game, that old guy.
Yeah,
who's been playing his whole life. I won. I
love that movie so much.
It's
funny. Actually, I made a joke about that earlier this week because some friends were in town and I ran into them playing blackjack, and I've never seen this kind of blackjack before, to where you play two hands, and after all the cards are dealt, you can, before you hit or stay, you can switch.
Oh yeah,
two cards.
Blackjack switch is a fantastic way to lose twice as much money.
I've never seen that before until this past week.
We have a table or two of that at our local casino. It's called Thunder Valley. And yeah, I played it a few times, and you're like, oh, this is cool. I could switch. This is easier for me to win. Yeah, but except you're putting out twice as much money. So instead of a $10 minimum, you're paying $20.
Yeah.
And if you want to double down, be prepared to spend $40.
And so that's funny, is I watched the lady. She was at the end of the table. She was in the last seat, and she had 2 2s. She split them, and the next 5 cards come up were 2s, and she kept splitting them. So she went from $50 to like $200 on the table or more, and I was like, "Oh my god!"
That's just that gives me nerves. Like that makes my stomach flip.
It made me sweat, dude. I was like flop swapping watching her, but she ended up winning. The dealer ended up busted, and she won.
Okay.
But you're just like, that's like a couple $100 about ready to go away if you screw up.
I don't know the most I've ever split, but like at least like 3 or 4 hands, as like you get 8 double aces, right? That's not a good hand. You want to split those and hope for a 10 on each of them, right? Except if you get a third ace, let me fucking split this one too. And you just split it again. And then, so like same thing, like you get like a 3, pocket 3s, you pocket 2s. All right. Do I want to split? It kind of depends at that point. Like how far up am I? Because if I'm down, I'm probably not going to risk it just to put more money out there. But if I'm up, if I sat down with $100 and I'm up to 300, fuck it, why not? Let's split. Let's play. We're here to gamble, right?
When you go play blackjack, where do you normally sit at the table? Do you try to sit at the end, the beginning, somewhere in the middle?
I don't mind playing third base. We call it third base because it's at the at the end of the table. I don't mind. I used to want to play third base because I was like, I felt in control. You don't have control over anything. The fucking casino's controlling you. Like, don't have that vague illusion of control over anything that happens at a blackjack table. So now I just kind of sit at whatever open seat. I like to sit in the middle just because I like some elbow room. You sit on one of the ends and you're constantly like hitting the ashtray or like the little indicator with how much money it's going to cost you,
Right.
like the little screen. And I'm like, fuck, ow, my elbow hurts.
Well, I've heard a lot of people who like really are concerned about who's sitting in that third base because they hit on something they normally wouldn't hit on.
Yeah.
And then you screw everybody else. It's it's one of those type of mindsets, but
you at that point it's like, all right, are you really that much of a mathematician that you've been counting all the tens that have come out,
right?
And you're gonna be getting mad at that guy because he hit on a 12 against a 5?
I've seen
you
it.
Don't know, like it happens, but if he was sitting in the first spot, he would have done the same thing,
right?
You're just like, all right, so, X amount of tens have come out, like you better play it the right way. It's a 6 deck continuous shoe that's always shuffling. Like you don't know how they do so much to combat card counting nowadays.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Unless you're playing a single deck, or a double deck where they actually hold the cards in one hand.
It's hard to count.
You're not doing that anymore.
But I've been there with my parents because both my parents are big blackjack players, and I've been there to my mom fucked with the guy sitting next to her because he kept getting mad at her for like hitting on things that he wouldn't have, and so she started doing it on purpose to like make him lose, like just to be a dick about it.
That's funny.
Some people are just assholes.
What's is it Pai Gow where you have like 7 cards in your hand? I've never played. So someone did that at a local card room, turned into a brawl. They had like 5 jacks in their hands or something like that. And then one of the other players had like 2 of them. Whatever the card was, basically he was holding the good cards hostage in a sense of like, if I play these, then it's like cards up and we'll both win. And you'll win $700 on this hand. You have to pay me half. But if I fold, then those cards are down. You can't play my cards.
Right.
So you're going to lose your $200 bet. And so it's like, so they would play dirty against not even the dealer. They're playing against other players because I don't like, once again, I don't know how Pai Gow works, but essentially like you somehow share cards between whatever cards are shown or something to that effect. So he's like, if I fold, we'll both lose. You're going to lose your bet. But if I play, you're going to win double. So you have to pay me half of your winnings. And it's like, that's fucked up.
That is kind of fun, man. Yeah,
that's super shady shit going on. We have a very large population of like random card rooms and casinos here in Sacramento. Like within 15 minutes driving distance, I could hit 3 of them. It's really, we have a lot of them going on. So there's some shady shit that happens, which is why they always have security walking around. So, be careful. Just like a regular casino.
Oh, dude. Security at casinos here are crazy.
It's interesting. I don't like going into a card room where everyone seems to know each other. I really feel like, because I'll play at this, this was years ago, but I would play at this one place every Monday. I worked like Tuesday through Friday. I always have Mondays off. So I'd just go in for the morning tournament on my day off, right? But I wasn't playing them there 7 days a week. I wasn't spending my retirement money playing there or my Social Security check playing there like a lot of other elderly people do. And so you go in, I'm sitting down there and I'm just playing in the tournament. And, Billy Bob over here is joking with Johnny, the dealer, like they're best friends. Like they've known each other since childhood. I'm like, why do you know him so well? Why are you talking about your kids? And we're in the middle of a tournament and this guy's over here raking in money and he's best friends with the dealer. I wonder why that's happening. And it just makes me feel very like super paranoid.
Right.
I'm like, so I'd rather go play at a big casino card room where chances are like, the dealer isn't going to know all 100 people in the room. Where you go into a little hole in the wall and you're like, why are you guys best friends? That's really weird.
Stuff like that reminds me of Rounders.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
but it wasn't like a back door, it wasn't like a back room poker game. It was an actual casino, or a card room rather. But we used to play at this one. I was
gonna say there's a scene in Rounders where they're in Vegas at a card table and there's like 4 of them that know each other from the back rooms, cleaning out the tourists. And it's shit like that you're like, oh,
that's exactly right. Maybe that was on. I haven't seen Rounders in so long. I've seen it like twice ever, but it's been a long time since I've seen it. We used to play at this little card room hole in the wall place, this bar downtown. My buddy had just broken up with his girlfriend of like 5 years. He was super depressed, so we went there like every single night, like just to get his mind off of things. And we'd show up. We'd go there after work at 11 o'clock, and we'd play until like 4 a.m. because we worked like the closing shift, so we didn't have to be up till like noon. this guy would come in. We'll just say he was a residentially challenged person. He was I don't know where he got his money from other than there was a check cashing place down the street. And I think he just brought his social security check in like every single time he got paid basically. And we were playing a 3-6 limit game, which means you could only bet 3 or 6 on the 3 on the like pre-flop and then 6 on each turn river, everything.
Right.
Every single hand, he'd sit down with like $100. Every single hand, all in. He'd push all of his chips across the table, and the dealer would be like, "Here's 6. All right, push the rest back." Because you can only bet maximum 6. It would go around. We'd call, whatever. Next card would come, all in. The dealer would have to take 6 off the top, push the rest of the chips back. He's like, you can only bet so much. Everyone call. The river comes. We're done betting. All in. He's like, take 6 off the top, push the rest back. It was so annoying. But he would just come in and donate his money to whoever was playing that day. Like he did not play cards very well. It was always sad to like take his money. I don't know.
Yeah.
But you know what? I was young and dumb. I was willing to take people's money. Hey, if you're gonna bet it, like that's on you.
That is on you at some point.
Anyone who's willing to play poker, like if you want to learn, that's fine. Bring $40 over and I'll teach you how to play poker. I tell everyone that who's willing to learn. You want to play poker? Cool. Bring $40. I'll teach you.
It's not going to be yours when you walk out, but
no,
I'll show you.
Probably not. It's fun. At our home game, I play poker once a month at a home game, and it's always every single time it's whoever brings the new guy. The new guy always fucking wins every single month.
Oh yeah.
I think we all know each other. I've been playing there for like 10 years. So like I think we all know each other too well. Like we know when we're bluffing, we know when we're doing some stupid shit. But you bring a new guy and we're just like, we don't know how to fucking play with this person, And it's like it's that one person that they're just have dumb luck at the whole time, the whole night. They just, oh yeah, I'll go, okay, all in. Like you got 8-2 offsuit. Like why are you going all in? I don't know. They were shiny. Shiny cards.
I grew up around poker. My parents played every weekend as a kid. Even as an adult, they played every weekend. And so I played with them. So I know exactly what you're talking about. And you get used to the people. And it was more of just bullshitting than actually gambling until the new comes.
I don't go up there to win money. I go up there to hang out with my friends. I see once a month,
It's a good time.
Yeah, they're all there. I'm 35. They're all like house dads that are like damn near retirement. They're all like in their 50s and 60s, but they're my poker buddy. I've been playing with them for like 12 years now.
Shit, I didn't realize you were the same age, Sean.
87. So 90s kids.
88.
Hey, there you go.
January 88. So I just turned 35. I feel you. But I've avoided the poker rooms here in Vegas for the most part. I used to play all the time. God, I used to gamble all the time. 3-card poker was my jam forever. But now I go to enjoy and watch my friends lose their money, and I can just have a good laugh while they're doing it. So
my favorite table game has become 10 years ago. Well, I haven't gone and played in the last few years. The WPT, so the World Poker Tour Texas Hold'em game. Mm-hmm. And there's a place called Red Hot Casino nearby, and I would drive, and my wife would go with me just to hang out. And I'd sit down with $200, and it's just you against the dealer. The whole table, the whole table gets cards, but it's just like you're playing Texas Hold'em, in a card room. And I would sit there for like 8 hours and just watch the TV right behind the dealer and just like watch ESPN or whatever was on the TV. And I would play every single hand. Every single hand I would be playing, I wouldn't even look at the cards. Cards face down. I put max bet, like whatever the minimum bet was, but then I would put all the max bets per turn, river, flop, and the bonus, and play every single hand. And after a month, I was up like $2,000.
Wow.
And I would go there like twice a week, like right after get off work or whatever. It was like a 40-minute drive to get there. But it was my favorite casino at the time. There wasn't a ton of them. And I'd sit down with $200. And if I lost $200, all right, cool. Time to head home. Right. Go the next time, I'd leave with $2,000. And so I'm like, hey, cool. That bankrolled my next, 10 trips.
Yeah. That's pretty cool.
Back up there. And eventually I was like breaking even. Like I'd win some, lose some, like every other time. I'm like, all right, this kind of waste of time now. I'm going to stop doing this. And plus my wife was getting bored just sitting there watching
you play.
Watching me play. Yeah.
When you've come to Vegas, have you ever won anything big here?
Not a big, no, like enough to bankroll the weekend, so so enough to leave even. Yeah. That's my big winning in Vegas, where it's like, hey, cool, I paid for my $300 hotel room for the 3 nights I was here or whatever.
The most I've ever won here was $3,000. but it was on a penny slot, and it was like
Oh, okay.
3 a.m. drunk as shit, and I don't remember what happened type thing. But that was even before I moved here. So, and I've lived here for 6 years, and I haven't won dick since then. So it's one of those. I'm out.
Not that type of game for you.
No, my buddy wins all the time on. He'll play electronic poker at the bars and always win like the Royal Flush jackpots every month or so, and it's super fucking annoying to go with him. He's walking away with money.
We were, is it Vegas or Reno? I can't remember. We went on like a guy's weekend. I want to say it was Reno, and me and my buddy went down to the bar to wait for our other friend who was still like taking a shower or something. Like you were like, all right, cool, let's head out. Like we're gonna go out, play some blackjack, play some poker, whatever it was. So we're just sitting at the bar waiting. He's playing, Texas Hold'em at the thing while we're ordering a drink or two. Boom, hits $1,200 in 6 minutes while we're standing there. And then our buddy comes waltzing down, 20 minutes later. All right, cool, I'm all showered, ready to go out. And he's like, my buddy's like, fuck, I'm buying dinner. Let's go. He's like, let's go hit it.
That's awesome. That's always a good friend to have. That'll do that.
Right?
That'll buy those things. God, this freaking camera tonight. But yeah, man, God, I love Vegas so much. Do you have any plans on coming back anytime soon?
Plans? No. Dreams? Sure.
Yeah. Well, if you ever come back, better hit me up. I'd love to go hang out.
Absolutely. I've driven twice and then flown the rest. I'd much rather fly. It's such a strike for a drive, but
what's the flight like 45 minutes an hour?
Oh, like hour 15 or less. Yeah. Like if we get a good wind, it's less than an hour. It's like 58 minutes or something. If you get a straight shot, for some reason, like all the flights from Sacramento to Vegas are like, cool, like you're going to fly to Denver and then over. I'm like, no, or you're going to go to Seattle and then down. Like what?
Yeah.
We went to, I've been to Disneyland Disney World one time. We went to Florida in 2018 on a work trip. Ooh, excuse me. And on the way back, we had a layover in Vegas. On the way there, it was a straight shot. It was like Sacramento to San Francisco, which was like a 32-minute flight for some reason. Basically just like high enough to get over the clouds and come back down. Right. And then San Fran all the way to Florida. And that was a good, 5-hour, 6-hour flight. On the way back, the layover was in Vegas. So our friends planned it that way. They didn't check their bags. They instead just brought everything like in carry-ons, and they got off the plane in Vegas and never got back on. Because they're like, oh no, we're gonna stay here, because it was a work trip, so work was paying for all the flights. So they're like, cool, we're just gonna get off the plane and not go back on. Like, when they're calling our name, say you don't know us.
Yeah, right.
Because they do that if people aren't getting after a 30-minute layover or whatever, when you have to switch planes. They're like, hey, is so and so here? Does anyone know so and so? I'm like, I don't know.
No, we don't.
Don't know. Because you're not supposed to do that.
Right.
Sometimes you can get cheaper flights with a layover where you want to go than just a direct flight to the place you want to go.
Facts.
So yeah, which is really interesting. So they stayed there for like an extra week and then flew home or whatever afterwards. They were planning an extra long trip. So
that's cool.
Yeah, so it's much quicker, and it's like an hour at most. It's like $100. It's probably more expensive now. I think a lot of flights and prices and gas and everything have gone up. But like from here to LA, $200 round trip. From here to Vegas, $200 round trip, and it's only an hour each way. So as long as you get a direct flight.
Well, and what I've noticed, and I've been telling people too, the flight to Vegas is normally the cheapest of the two.
Yeah, they want to get you in.
They want to get you here. It's getting you out is the hard part.
It's like an extra 20%. So it's like $100 there, $120 on the way back type of thing. Yeah.
So
something like that. Unless you fly Spirit, and then you get like a voucher because you have to get out and push. It's like you can fly Spirit if you are going to Vegas. Vegas on Spirit is actually not bad because, one, you shouldn't be spending too much time in Vegas anyway. So you don't really need a big suitcase. You need a backpack with 2 pairs of clothes.
Yep.
And that won't charge you for a carry-on. If you actually bring a roll-on one, okay, they're going to charge you extra. But if you're doing Vegas for 2 nights, which is the last time I went, I did fly Spirit because it was for a UFC fight. So I was only there for 2 or 3 nights at the most. I just put everything in my backpack, or I wore what I was going to wear that night, instead of changing.
Out there. For sure. I tell people too, especially during summer, pack a couple swimsuits and maybe like a pair of pants and a t-shirt for your night out, and you're good. You're good to go. because you can get all of your other like toiletries really cheap, either for free at the hotels or like cheap at Walgreens. So
you can fucking grocery delivery Walmart. There's a Walmart
yep.
down the road from the strip. Like you can easily, do that, which is what we did in my buddy's timeshare. We're like, oh shit, I forgot this thing. All right, good. We'll just all, take a list and, go pick it up or whatever. Have it delivered right to the hotel, to the timeshare thing. And it's not a bit. Yeah. Pack light and just buy the shit. All the same stuff you would buy at home, you can buy at the Walmart right there in town.
Yeah.
And you don't have to pack it out.
Little travel stuff. And you can just toss it when you're ready to go home.
Yeah, exactly. No sense in packing it out. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. As long as you're not spilling drinks on your jeans, you can wear the same jeans for 2 or 3 days in a row.
Yeah.
Some nice, change your shirt. You're good to go.
I tell people that all the time. Don't pack heavy. There's no reason to pack heavy.
You're just going to sweat through it anyway.
Yeah.
Depending on when you go.
Sweat through it, drop shit on it. Whatever.
Vegas, October through like April. Yes. Don't ask me to go to Vegas May through September. It's not going to happen. It's gonna be hot as hell.
Yeah, it's an interesting time.
Yeah, we made that mistake for a UFC fight, and it was like 117 out like on the strip walking because there's blacktop everywhere, and that was a terrible time. Well, we can talk about that on the next show.
We can. Because people forget though, like the walk, and we'll talk about that too, is the walking on the strip. Like everything looks close, but it's not. You're walking a couple miles easily.
Also, things are not in a straight line.
No. Yeah,
you're trying to walk this way. Sure, you walk this way, but you got to zigzag around traffic. You got to go up an escalator. You got to go over the street because it's like it's a stairwell, and then you got to go back down. So what would have taken you 30 seconds just took you 8 minutes.
Yep. So yeah. You got to be smart about it. But well, cool, man. I hope you come back, and I hope you guys let me know if you ever come back because I'd love to hang out.
Absolutely.
And so before we call tonight, is there anything you want to plug, promote, talk about before we go?
Sure. Down below. I think my name's right down below. Yep. Catch me on Flick and Reel, doing YouTube videos and trailer reactions and having a good old time. We do our Friday night speakeasy as often as we can, but depending on schedule. I got baseball season. I'm coaching my son's team, so I'm often busy, and the rest of the crew, we all got work stuff, so we do as often as we can. But check us out on Flick and Reel, and coming soon, whenever this airs, on Benny and Moose Save America, there will be maybe a trivia match or two in our near future.
There is. And so in the description section below, I'm going to go ahead and tag Flick and Reel, your guys' channel. Go check them out. Such a great group. I love hanging out with you guys and bullshitting. It's always a fun time.
You'll have to come on our next speakeasy.
I will have to, and I would love to drink with you all. It'd be fun as shit.
Absolutely.
I'm excited for your guys' for yours and everybody else's trivia shows to launch. They're going to be out fairly soon. So take a look at that. Benny and Moose Save America on the Last American Heroes channel. But don't forget to like and click subscribe and come check out our shit here at Beyond the Neon Veil. I'm your host, Cousin Ryan. This has been my great friend, Sean Wingblade. Thank you guys for joining us tonight. I hope you had a good time. I know I did. We'll see you all later. Have a good night.
Peace.